Game number 3, ladies and gentlemen, with Frost being the third map. Starting to the top left, the young German player for Team MouseSports. It is Heromarine taking down Slam and has back-to-back 2 points for MouseSports already in this best of 9. And this time, he's going up against the Korean player. All the way to the bottom of the map, we have San, the Protoss player, the third player for Team FlashWolves. And with San and Leenock in the lineup, you know that you will always have to deal with those two somehow. They are the best players for the FlashWolves, and they are about to prove that again, or at least that's the idea here. Question, of course, only being if they can really pull that off. So let's see what San can do here, Marine. It would be quite amazing if he's also able to take down San here. But even if he doesn't, his team is still in decent shape. And we talked to Has Orbs a bit earlier, and he confirmed that San worries them a bit more than Leenock. They say, like, alright, against San, we know their style, but it's going to be difficult to win against him either way. Of course, we still have Vortex playing for MouseSports. You might have read in the news in the past few days that Vortex is going to leave the team, but this is his last official appearance for MouseSports. He's going to do his best to make sure that they end up in the playoffs here. And Vortex, after that, is going to leave the team, which also leaves MouseSports with only 3 players. So if they actually make it into the playoffs, they will have to get another player to participate there, since 4-player is the bare minimum that you need to have in your team. We have a command center being built on the low ground for Heromarine. He's actually going into a command center first here, and now all the way to the bottom left, San already starting. And Hazov was talking a bit how he coached Heromarine in Protoss versus Terran, so the team really preparing here against the FlashWolves, and he said especially against the style that has, what you need to do is just, you cannot really skip any bunkers or turrets. You know that you're up against the one base play. If you don't know that, then just scan his bloody natural and find out if there's a nexus or not. And if you see that there is no second base for the Protoss player, all that you have to do is hold and you will win. So just drop those bunkers, drop those missile turrets, and make sure that there is an impeccable defense that the Protoss player cannot break through. If that's the case, you're gonna win that match no matter how, and that's exactly what we saw in the last game, where Heromarine, he scouted the proxy Stargate that we saw for San, and he was able to just get his bunkers into the play. He had the Marines there, he had the Widow Mines, very important. He had very good hits too, and of course, especially since he was able to take down the Oracle, it was, from that point on, a downhill battle for him. Very tricky for Has in the last game, since he didn't have the detection any longer. But now Heromarine is up against a very different beast. San at the bottom left, building his own nexus now. No scouting for him just yet. Well, we have one probe on the minimap, but it's going to the bottom right, so we're going to see a very late scout for both players, scouting into the wrong direction first. But that will work out for Heromarine as well as it will for San, who in the main base now completed the cybernetics course, going straight into the warp gate research. What's going to be his tech of choice? We don't see a proxy, we won't see one either. Could of course go into a Stargate opening here. We could see him with the Twilight Counselor, or just with the traditional robotic spade, trying to get the observer out and the scouting information, leading them into of course the there it is, with the Colossi at the end of the road. Robotic spade being started for him, and to the top left for Heromarine, we have the bunker at the front. Too many Terran players have been taken out by Mothership Core, Zealot, and of course the Stalker. That's a fate that he doesn't want to suffer, so he's moving in. And we have the SCV moving to the left side of the map now, trying of course to get those scouting information, but with the Mothership Core out, that's going to be a bit tricky to achieve. And well, there we have the Mothership Core already with the hits. The Stalker moving in too. He sees the Robo though, so at least that's something that he already knows. Getting to see the Robo was the most important part, so that SCV died on a mission. His children can be proud and will still tell the grandchildren, yeah, do you remember when your grandfather was providing the main scouting information for General Heromarine? That was back in the days when San was still playing, but Heromarine took him out and defeated him so hard that San just retired afterwards. Those are of course only the fantasies of an SCV, but we have triple barracks now also for Heromarine and the tech lab that he's currently building there. It would of course be great for him if he would take down San here and put the 3-0 onto the board, but well, let's see if he can really pull that off, because this is going to be very, very difficult to achieve. San is a monster, and we all know it. Like, this guy is so damn good, it's absolutely incredible. We have now the Observer moving to the top left to find out what the Terran player is doing. We see at the same time the Stimpack research at the bottom left, or at the top left, my bad. And we also have in the main base now the first engineering base started for the upgrades, for the +1. The factory is on the way too. Does he get to take down that observer? Does he see it? No, we don't see a scan yet. Well, he actually clicked the orbital command, but he doesn't have enough energy on that. I think he saw that observer. There's the scan, takes it out, but the observer still gets a look at the main base and also at the tech lab here. Gets a quick look at the bunkers and the barracks that we see there. So yeah, the scan, the first one not happening since he didn't really have the... well, did he... let me just double check in the main base. Yeah, he didn't have the energy, and well, when the main orbital had the energy, he dropped the scan and took it out. So we see for Sun at the same time now the Twilight Council hidden in plain sight from his opponent. The +1 armor upgrade already started, and with the armor upgrade started, that's usually when you really want to go for a bit more gateway aggression. And with the +1 attack upgrade and then +2, +3, we mostly see players head straight into the Colossi. Just maximize the damage output that they have there. Sustainability with the armor upgrades is great. It looks like the Marines are very well aware where this observer is being positioned, at least so far. He's just clicking on them over and over again and is still watching for the ripples in the matrix to see if that observer is moving once more. He doesn't really have the energy yet, but he will in just a few seconds, so another scan could reveal observer number 2 and take that out as well. And there it is, takes down the second one, and well, Heromarine is dropping observers like, well, like Creator basically. Creator YOLOing his observers into Terran player armies since 2010. And we see, of course, for the Protoss plate at the bottom left, now the tech straight into the Archons. Will have the Storm upgrade as well if he wants it, but it's Charge Lot and Archons for now, getting a lot of gateways in the process, whereas Heromarine is now starting to move out. He has a pretty big army there, with the Stim upgrade, with the +1 about to be completed. The Combat Shield is on his way too. Army supply is 40 against 26. There's no third base just yet for either one of these players. Warp Prism with a few Zealots on the way to the top left, and we also have one probe for the forward pylon and another Zealot just to clear the way. But the Bio Army is moving in, and let's see how many... well, we have only 2 sentries. Here's the Photonova charge already baited immediately. And what can Heromarine do there? +1 attack upgrade about to be done. Concussive Shell on the way. In the main base, the first few medevacs are being built. Actually, number 3 and 4. And he's starting to drop into his opponent's base. There are no High Templars yet for the feedback. Here comes the Observer with the vision. We have one probe taken out. There's a scout, but what about the Archon? Can he get that, or is he just moving back? He's trying to snipe the Archon, and he's getting it. He's getting the Archon, and he's in a really good position suddenly. A lot of DPS there for Heromarine. He's taking down his opponent's forces at the same time, and he's being dropped in the main base, but the reinforcements are there. The Warp Prism nearly going down, and San finds himself suddenly down in supply. The Medivacs are still moving back right into the range of the Photonova charge, though. The Medivac just barely surviving, and all the way to the top left, he was able to chase down not only the units, but also take down the Warp Prism. The force fields for San are decent, but taking out a few of his Zealots as well. And here comes once again Heromarine, and we do not have energy for another Photonova charge any longer. The Terran player is sending his army across the map, and San does not have Storm yet. He will in a bit though, and maybe Heromarine can make something happen before that's the case. 63 army supply against 45, 110 overall against 100, and here comes Heromarine once again, but Storm is done. Storm is completed. We have three High Templars on the high ground already. He's waiting for it. He's waiting for that opportunity to storm, and he can use the feedbacks as well. But here comes the Medivac. He's dropping in his opponent's base, and he has the scouting information. Here comes the storm. The feedback takes down one of the Medivacs, and suddenly the army supply is still in favor of Heromarine, but the gap is about to close. 64 against 55. With now High Templars being part of the composition. Widowmine at the front already taking out, and it looks like the Terran player is moving back for now. No, he's not. He's going into the main base instead, taking down the Zealots here. That warp in just stops Heromarine for a second and nothing else. And we have the Medivacs moving back once more, whereas the Marauders are going to win, trying to take down that Nexus maybe, not really pulling that off. Apparently the cannon got a kill here. No, it didn't, but it got a shot or two off against the forces of the Terran player. Heromarine is trying to go for the aggression here, but so far San is holding, and the Protoss play, if he can pull that off, then he's in a very good position against Heromarine. The Storm upgrade so important. Ghost Academy is being built, Armory and double engineering bay on the way very soon. We have once again the charge being baited out, and 1 or 2 Zealots will have to pay the price. Another Widowmine in the vicinity is going to help out as well, but we already see that Observer spotting it, and the Marauders all the way at the front. A nice dodge against that Storm, only a few units being hit. Warp-ins all the way to the top though, and we have this army moving straight in for that natural. Needs to be careful, doesn't have the reinforcements there just yet. Another Storm hits home, but also the Widowmine with the counter aggression, and not a lot of energy on those High Templars. The Zealots are moving in. He wants to snipe that base. He wants to get the natural. But we see the Zealots moving in against the Terran player now straight into the main base. Into the natural, actually. He has to be careful. There are only a few reinforcements for Heromarine. San at 150 supply against Heromarines 150. Photon overcharge going up against the Widow Mines now. The Zealots now up against the bunker here. But we have the reinforcements in the main base. And he needs to really take care of those Marines. And he will. Sorry, of the Zealots, of course, that is. Marine and Marauder is currently moving in, trying to take that out, but by now we also have the Immortals there, and the Chargers are making their move. One Widow Mine hit pretty decent. He's dropping into the main base. Really good move here by Heromarine. The High Templar is too late. High Templar is too late. He gets more damage done, trying to use his mobility, but San's defense is impeccable so far. He didn't lose anything against us. Moves even down with another Stalker, tries to snipe another Medivac. One already taken down, another one lost to. Double upgrades here on the armor, 2 armor upgrades, 1 attack upgrade, and Heromarine is looking at a 1-1. So the lead-in upgrades for the Protoss player. The third base is ready for Heromarine, but can he really capitalize on that? No cancel force on the Nexus over here. He just doesn't have the DPS with this dropship. With a few Marauders in the medevac, maybe he would have been able to pull that off, but as is, he needs to be super careful here since the Protoss player is going to make his third base here as well. 2-2 is on the board for Heromarine. He's researching those. Another Zealot running to the right and scouting this army. Very well done by San, sending the units all across the map, making sure that he has the scouting information that he needs. In the main base, 1 High Templar for the feedback. We have the Terran player moving in, trying to claim the high ground here against his opponent, sniping the first Zealot, but this army is just not big enough. Another set is moving in. It's a distraction. He's trying to snipe that third. He might be able to pull it off now. He's going for it, and he takes it. The cancel is there. 1 medevac might go down, and yes, the medevac goes down. Heromarine is paying the price for this snipe. He still has the army all the way to the bottom left with the medevacs, trying to just put pressure onto that main base to make sure that San cannot move in and put pressure onto the third base of the Terran player. And Heromarine, he is fighting tooth and nail here. At the same time, we have San, of course, doing his thing, being a boss. Resources lost 5,000 against 4,500 in favor of the Protoss player. And just look at this army. This is so damn scary. He has the 2-2 upgrades. He has an Archon. He has double Colossus. He's looking at Immortals as well, and those Chargeless, they don't kid around either. He wants to go for the base now, and he's already moving in. The Terran player starting to move back. He was on his way to go for the counter-aggression. Army supply at this point, 117 against 116. San is moving back, forcing the lift at that third. A few Zealots moving right into Doom, but we have the Storm hitting home against the Marines, taking them out. Only the Marauders surviving for now. And the Terran player once more just in the position here against San, trying to make sure that this third base can still mine, puts it back onto the low ground. Harvester count 57 against 58, and at the bottom left we currently see the third base completed for San. The +3 armor upgrade started, more Archons joining the battle, another Colossus being built. How many Vikings do we have? 2. How many Vikings do you need against 3 Colossi? More of a philosophical question, I guess, but at this point it really doesn't look as if Heromarine has the composition that he needs here. He has the Ghosts, super important against the Archons, against the High Templars, and of course against the entire army that we see here for the Protoss player, but he needs also more Vikings. He needs them soon, and he's building them. He's building 2 at a time right now, takes down another High Templar, moving towards that third base, but he cannot possibly think that he will force that army back. The nice storms, especially of course against the Widow Mines. Terran player has to be super careful here, but Heromarine has the overall supply lead. He is in an army supply lead against his opponents, and those EMPs, they certainly hit home. And he's still pressuring San. San is moving back once again, and well, Heromarine is playing a really decent game against the Protoss opponent. I mean, San is a monster. He's someone who won major tournaments in the last year, and he is such a huge contender also in, of course, WCS. So this is something where San is very strong just in general. And, well, it's going to be very interesting to see if Heromarine can really make that work, because so far the Terran player for Team MouseSports is doing a decent job against his opponent. Might be down in resources lost, but he is certainly making San work for his salary here. In terms of army supply, we have 141 against 142, but of course the late game army of a Protoss player is absolutely devastating. That Colossus count alone is already a bitch to deal with. And we now have Archons at the front to deal with those Vikings. We see the +3 attack upgrade coming in as well for San. He has the +3 armor, is therefore ahead in upgrades against Heromarine. And Heromarine is trying to go for another drop in the main base. There are no mineral patches left anymore. He might be able to take down the tech though. Moves in against the cannon first, a warp in, and the Terran player forces at least the army of San back for now. Kills a few of the harvesters, not too much done just yet. A warp in occurring once more. Kills a pylon. Supply blocks Sun for a second, but those zealots, they have charge upgrades, they have 3 armor, they have 2 attack, they are pretty beastly here. He's taking down a few more probes. That's all that the Marines can achieve here. Another base already being built by San. Heromarine is also completing another command center. The rest of the Protoss army is about to move in here, and just a few Marauders at the front aiming for the High Templars, trying to snipe them before anything else happens there. We do not have personal cloaking for the Ghosts just yet, so they can't move in, but we also see an Observer, so wouldn't matter too much anyways, as long as he keeps that Observer alive. Sensor towers for Heromarine. Really important now to see the movements of his opponent. We have another command center now being built also for Heromarine. That's going to be number 5. The Dark Shrine in the main base for the harass against the bases. And well, that force here all the way at the front. Heromarine abandoning them for now. He's getting more Vikings into the game, and he currently has 9. Still not enough to deal with 5 Colossi, but he's getting there. 8 Ghosts, that will help quite a bit. And we now see all the way to the top another set of Zealots being warped in that could potentially go in against this base right here. Also could take down the Widow Mines that are now being placed down. That planetary is not done just yet. Another move forward by Heromarine with a scan against the Observer. Very, very well done. And let's see to the top left what exactly do we have there. Once more the Zealots just trying to take down a few of the SCVs. That was the 3 Zealots that he sent in earlier. A bit of a skirmish down at the bottom. We have nice EMPs against those Stalkers. Really well done. Also hitting the High Templar here. Good job by the Ghosts. Another look at the overall resources. Lost 10,000 versus 9,800. The 4th base also done for Sun. Both of them being on 4 bases. And keep that Dark Shrine in mind. Usually we would say when behind Dark Shrine, but Sun is not all that far behind. We have still in the overall scheme of things, of course, the 2-0 for MouseSports and Heromarine. But still, Sun is moving in once again. Heromarine with the Priest Blitz for his Vikings. Doesn't want to get stormed here. He gets the first shot off against the Colossi, gets another one, but most of those Vikings are already gone. He kills one of those Colossi, and here comes the rest of the army. Immediately the Sim being used by the Terran player, but all of his army is being clustered up. And where are the storms? Here they are. Heromarine takes down Sun's supply, but those storms, they hit home. Heromarine is going for it, and Sun is dropping in supply, but so does the Terran player for Team MouseSports, and the immediate warp in for Sun is increasing the army supply of the Protoss player, once again bringing him into the lead with 84 against 72. Heromarine maybe throwing his Vikings away too early there, just clustering them up and moving in. He needed to take down more of those Colossi, and he's building more Vikings. A little bit uncharacteristic for the Terran players also that he's only relying on a single, well, he has a double starport, but he's okay, now he's utilizing both. I was wondering earlier why he was only relying on one of them, but he built the second one, didn't notice that on the production tab. And San, looking at the resources, lost 18,000, lost against 16,000. The Terran player just fighting in a spot here where his entire army was clustered up with a bit of a better split. He could have done so much more, but he got a bit greedy there. He saw the Protoss army moving away, and he was like, yeah, he was smelling blood in the water and was thinking, alright, I can take this out right now, and it was not really able to make that work, but the game is not over just yet. San is starting to gain more and more momentum in this series, but we have Heromarine now also with a +3/+3 upgrades. Both of them are on +3/+3. We have the shield upgrade on the other hand for San, and San is moving in once more, has another set of Stalkers now all the way on the high ground against the planetary, taking down Harvesters here. Very nice move by the Protoss player, really well done, and he's aiming of course for that 4th base, for that 3rd base actually here once again. San with 180 supply against 166, Heromarine with the Viking count looking at 8 now, trying to go for 10, still 5 Colossi for his opponent, 2 Archons, and we still see 7 High Templars against those 5 Ghosts, the Snipes and the MPs. It's all about them for now, but San is maxing out, and he will be at 150 supply in just a little bit. Army supply, that is. 120 for Heromarine, so he is already behind. Nice storms here. Really well done. That High Templar worth its weight in gold. And here comes San moving in. Heromarine is doing what he can taking down the first Colossus, at least trying to. This time the Vikings are really chasing this army hard. Nice pre-split by Heromarine, moving back against the Storms. The Protoss player storms his own army basically. Really well done. And the Vikings, well, I think the assault mode was a bit of an accident there. He needs to take down the last Colossus, and he gets a nice volley up against it. Takes it down. Heromarine so far with a really good defense, because now it's San who is the aggression, who's putting the aggression onto the table. We have double Colossus moving in from the back, and the Vikings in assault mode trying to hold the high ground here. San is moving in. Heromarine makes his last stand. We have the Storm hitting home, but now the space down here to the left side is completely exposed, and the Zealots, they take advantage of the situation. We have also the Archon starting to move in. The bio army of the Terran player is moving in once more. Time Warp being used by San's Mothership Core. Heromarine doing what he can, sniping the Colossus. The Storm hits home, and the Terran player drops down to 80 supply. San claims victory, the GG, after half an hour. Heromarine with 2 wins for his team, but in the end he has to surrender to San's strength. The Protoss player just a bit too strong, and he starts to bring the FlashWolves back, the first point for his team.